Here we have Domino. He is one of my common snapping turtles. And out of all my snapping turtles, he's more of a visual representation of, quote, the classic snapping turtle that people think of when they think of a snapping turtle. And he's enjoying some delicious zoom-in aquatic turtle food. And with my guys, I do give them different foods often. And part of it is I want them to get proper nutrition, of course, but also I'd like to try the different foods to kind of see which ones don't foul the water up very quickly, which ones they seem to like better, and also which ones have the appropriate texture for them in the water, because as you all know, if you've ever had fish or any other type of aquatic animal, the food is really key on whether or not the water quality is good or not. Because sometimes food will literally just dissolve and go into the water and they don't get the food, or they'll go into the bottom and you touch it and it just kind of dissolves like a sponge. And sometimes it's too crunchy to where they can't swallow it, and kind of don't want them to choke on it. It is a concern from time to time. And actually the adult form of this food is a lot bigger pellet, a lot bigger size pellet, and I will always soak that in water before I let them have it, because it's literally the exact size that would choke them. So, okay, you're not very enthusiastic. Well, you are. I'm not going to tease you. With my common snapping turtles, I don't feed them every day. I usually try to feed them about, maybe twice a week. Twice a week's plenty for a common snapping turtle this size. And if he was a little tiny hatchling, I'd maybe try to give him a little bit of food every day. Now, when I first got him, and also Blackjack, they were hatchlings, and they still had their yolk sac attached, and they were so small that they could not even bite the food. It was too big for them. So I actually fed them fish food for several months until they grew big enough to eat some of the pellets. And if you get a fish food, get one that's more of like a crisp type instead of a flake, and a firmer texture. Like the ones for cichlids are actually a lot better. And also the ones that are advertised as keeping the water clear, as far as fish food to feed a small turtle, are ideal because they don't disintegrate in the water as quickly. And I don't normally have the flash on just because it hurts their eyes, in my opinion. And the reason he's named Domino is because when he was a hatchling, he was actually about 4 months old. He got attacked by a bearded dragon, and the bearded dragon literally had him completely in its mouth and had been, not to be graphic, but had been chomping on him. Now, I'm talking about you. Do you remember? He does remember. And literally the scar, if you look right behind his head, you can see the first, if you look right behind his head, mark on there is the shape of a crescent, and that is from the bearded dragon's mouth. Literally almost chomped all the way through his shell. You can see there, right behind his head. And the white tissue also behind his neck where it meets with his shell is scar tissue. And I did not think he was going to survive. And snapping turtles are literally just so tough. And he did survive, and I dry docked him. I kept him out of the water. So scared. Do you remember? You remember when you got attacked by that bearded dragon? I had them both under the same heat lamp, and my bearded dragon jumped the barrier in there to get him. And any of you that have had bearded dragons know they're very, very aggressive eaters when they see something that's live food. But the bearded dragon jumped over one of these. I didn't have the lid on it, and they were sharing a heat lamp while I went outside to do something, and I came back, and a bearded dragon literally was about to swallow him. He was just finishing crunching up his shell. And I saved him. And the bearded dragon, of course, it was my fault for not securing him properly. But obviously he was fine. I used a business card, and I had to put the business card kind of between the bearded dragon's two jaws to get him to open up, but it was so scary. And he also had a severe, almost his leg severed in the front where that muscle is on the snapping turtles. Like completely cut through.